What up traders, it's your boy Martin from Affinity Markets, and today we're going to show you guys how I made 5k from just trading from £650 throughout this week. Also, what I'm going to touch base on is I'm going to break down our technicals and fundamentals and our reason behind those trades we took for this week. So we're going to break down our CPI news so you guys can have a better understanding, because I know a lot of you guys in the trading group and the trading community have been asking me what is CPI, so you will also know how CPI works. Let's go straight to the charts. CPI. What is CPI? CPI tracks the rate of change in inflation over time. The key economic metric is based on prices that consumers pay for goods and services throughout the country economy. The percentage change in CPI over a period of time is referred to as inflation rate. How is CPI calculated? So when you calculate CPI, so we can see we have a perfect example of CPI right here. So you can see annual CPI value of basket in current year slash value basket of previous year times 100, right? So the calculated CPI is then used to determine the inflation rate. Inflation rate equal new CPI take away old CPI times 100. So for example, you can see we have 2013, our CPI, right? You can see our prices for whatever goods, right? Consumers, they was paying, so where you said consumers, right? So the consumers was paying $10 in 2013, for example, for whatever good. So it can be gas, it can be corned beef, it can be anything that we use. It can be cooking oil, anything like that. So we was paying $10 in 2013, but in 2014 now you can see price actually raised to $15, right? But not all the time you're gonna see the CPI, right, is greater than previously. So it can be either way. Sometimes it can be less, sometimes it can be more. You know what I mean? It all depends on what the country is actually doing. So how to trade CPI? Traders compare the forecast with the actual CPI data, which you can check in an economic calendar. If the actual CPI data is greater than expectation, the currency will rise. If the actual CPI data is lower than the forecasted, the currency will drop. So for example, if we have US CPI, for example, if we have US CPI, what we'll be looking forward to is the US pays if you're a forex trader. So if you see you have US CPI coming out and you're a forex trader, you're gonna be looking at probably if they're expecting a weak CPI or a great CPI, then either way you're gonna be either looking to probably buy or sell when the news release. You know what I mean? I'm not someone who actually trade news personally, but I do love to do my technicals with my fundamentals, because once my technicals are strong enough and like my fundamentals is showing me sign that price is gonna buy or sell, then I'm gonna go with what I've already got set up, and that's how I actually trade. You know what I mean? I do like more confluence. So that's how you trade CPI data. For some of you who don't understand much about fundamentals, it's really good for you to know, because fundamentals is what actually move the currency market. Once you understand your fundamentals with your technicals, you can become so profitable in the market and things will become much easier for you. So we're going to go straight to the charts and we're going to be looking at how we made £5,000 for this week. You know what I mean? And I'm going to go through what I saw in the market, etc., and all what I've shared with my clients. So you can see we did this technical analysis on gold around February 14, which was Wednesday. So you can see what we was basically looking for in this setup, right? We was looking for price to pull back into this resistance area and potentially go short, because you can see price was forming what I like to call this is like a flag pattern. So you can see we was just in this channel trading, but I was looking for a breakout and then a continuation to reject possibility, right? So we're gonna either look for two things in this market. We're gonna look for a price to reject around 1999, or probably break above, retest, and then continue back into our EMA. So if you look at what I'm showing you guys right now, you can see on my H4 what I'm looking at is gold, right? And you can clearly see price have been trading lower. So you can see we have lower lows, right? And you can see we have lower highs, and you can see price is actually pushing towards the downside. So now what we're looking at, we can currently see that price have retested, right? We have price breaking above, exactly what I was expecting, right? If we're gonna go towards the upside, so you can see price came up, went down, and then boom, went back towards the upside. So that's what I was looking for out too, which shows me that price may potentially continue to go back into my EMA, right? And then I can be looking to either buy or sell throughout this week. So let's look at gold from a daily perspective, right? So what I'm going to show you guys is how price have been trading. So you can see we have been trading within this bearish trend, right? However, what I do fancy about gold, I think price may potentially come back into this supported area around, let me just mark it with my horizontal trend line. So I think price might come back into 1970 area. So what I do fancy is that price is just giving us a series of lower lows, right? And lower highs. What I'll do now is pull my Fibonacci from this previous high that we have to that low that we had last week, right? And you can see price is now back into my 38, but however, we can still possibly move back into our 50%, right? And then we can look for price to continue lower. Once we reject this 50% mark, we can probably look for price to head lower back into our EMA. And then once we're back into our EMA, what I'll be looking for is a potential reversal. What I'll be looking for in the market when I'm saying I'm going to be looking for reversal is this. So you see, for example, we have price giving us a series of lower lows, right? And lower highs, right? So in a reversal market, what I like to see is this. I like to see price come back, right? And then reject and break structure and then retest and then break, right? So what I'll be looking for is this. So you see like our price is already bearish, right? So I'll pull my resistance trend line, right? I'll pull my resistance trend line. And then what I'll be looking for is price. You can see price reject. Why is it not drawing? Sorry about that. So you can see price already rejected this area right there, right? And then what I'll be looking for is, you can see we already have our first higher low formation there. Then you see price break structure. Once we break this structure now, right? Once we break this, this is normally called a change of trend or change of characteristic. Depends on whatever you want to call it, right? Once we change that trend, what we'll be looking for, if the market doesn't break this low and close below, right, we can still look for buys. But however, sometimes the market can fake out to get stop loss, you know what I mean? And then we just break back above and continue trade long towards the upside, break structure, entry, push, break structure, retest, or you can enter on either your retest, or once price break structure, you can continue to buy once the candlestick close above that resistance, right? So let's go back to all these trades that we took, and I'm going to show you guys what we saw in the market and the reason behind why we took most of these trades, so you guys can actually see what we actually look forward to in the market. So now we're on gold, right? I'm going to break down to my hourly, and I'm going to show you where we took all of these sells. So exactly right where you see we had this major sell-off, this is what we actually caught in the market. So first I'm going to mark my low point, and then I'm going to mark my high point, right? So let's mark out these zones. So what I saw in the market, right, which was a H4 trade, and I'm going to show you guys the easiest way that you guys can look at this market, because I don't want to confuse you too much, because all I trade is more of like technicals, you know what I mean, and I follow my EMA. You can see my EMA is on the screen, and that's what we teach and show to our traders who is a part of Affinity Markets. Our website will be back up very, very soon, so stay tuned for that as well. So you see clearly where we have price within this range around 2012 and 2044, right? What I saw was coming is that my EMA, you can see price is just trading back into my EMA and rejecting. What I saw is all these massive wicks. So you see these wicks that we saw rejecting, and we came back down to test our support. We did took some buys, and we did send these to our traders, but then what we saw was this first push, and then once we come back into our EMA, once we came back to our EMA, that's when I will be looking to sell. And however, I'll be looking to sell on my lower time frame. So on my lower time frame, right, you can see And what I always want you guys to pay attention to is the major moves that the market makes. So you can see, if you look at this sell, right, you can see we sell from that 2044 mark right back down to 2012, right? So what this is showing me is that price is already going towards the downside. However, our technical is already bearish, you know what I mean? And our CPI data, we was expecting that the actual forecast will actually be great numbers. So that's already our fundamentals there straight away. So we already know if the CPI, right, if the US CPI data is positive, then we know gold is gonna sell because one, once the US dollar is strong, then you're gonna find gold weak. If gold is strong, then you're gonna see the US dollar weak, right? So what we saw was price went up, right? After we had all this major move. Look at this major move that we have. You know what I mean? So look at this major move, and then we are gonna find some sort of retracement every time we have these major moves. So we caught these buys, right? We sent these into our premium Telegram where we have our clients who trade on our platform, right? And then we had our EMA, right? You can see price came back into our EMA, and then boom. What I actually saw, right, was on my 15-minute time frame, right? On my 15-minute time frame, what I saw is this. I saw price break this resistance area. But what I was actually looking at is the bigger picture, because I was more focused on my H4 time frame, because I was looking at this previous resistance zone, which was previous support. And you can see, what I want you guys to see is how my EMA reacted, and you can see every time we back into this area is either we go for a massive sell. Remember, on our 30-minute time frame, as I marked out to you, you can see that major sell that we had, right? So on my H4 time frame, right, what we did was look at how price reacted. So when I saw price came back up like this on my H4, I know we was gonna go for a sell. We did took a sell, and we got TP1, 2, and 3 hit, which we already shared with our free community. So what I was looking for now is on Friday, right? After we had this massive sell, I start buying price. I think it was around 1990 area. I was looking for price to go back towards the upside. So when I saw this, right, what I saw on later on that week, right, I saw price came back up, right, create this zone, and I'm going to mark these zone because they're important, and I'm going to show you guys how important it is and how price can actually go for your stop loss, stop you out, and then move towards the upside. So what I saw on my 15-minute was price came down. Remember, I just said after we have these massive sells, right, the market is always going to go for some sort of retracement to fill that liquidity. You know what I mean? Even if it's going to continue lower, we're going to still go back up and fill this previous move that we just lost just a few minutes or whatever, how many time ago. So price came back down, we start consolidating, we create this low point. So now you got to focus on your low point, and this is very easy, traders. Look at your low point, right? So focus on your low point and see what the market is showing you. So if you focus in this area, you can see price did came back down to this low point, right? Just around, let me tell you, 1984.30. So when we came back to that low point, right, what we saw was price went up, right, break this previous high. That's when I start looking for my second entry points. But what you got to look at is that you can see price didn't hold above. We can see we still came back down, but come on, look at this, guys. We still have some sort of support holding that area around 1989.91, because you can see clearly price is not breaking that support. You know what I mean? So in my mind, I'm looking for price to push back up towards the upside, because we can clearly see we had this massive drop. So I know price need to fill this whole entire drop that we just previously had before we start going any lower. So that's why on the higher time frame, right, you analyze and come to the lower time frame so you can understand what's on the lower time frame, and also you can know how to find your entry points. You can understand what price action is doing on the higher time frame and use your lower time frame to manage your trades and also make profits and get some good entry points in the market. So after price came down, tested this previous support, I see price start going, then that's when I start just buying, and I start adding to my position, and then price just went up. you know what I mean? And then boom, we had this massive push. We came back down again. I was in negative, right? And then boom, price went up, and then I start closing out my trade. So I'm going to show you guys on my MT4 all the trades that I took because I was just managing all my trades. So you can see they're all on goal. So 4.462.58, right, is how much we actually made. But that's just 5k, 5.2k. I'll show you guys the actual video on my phone so you guys can see. I don't know why it's showing that, but it's 5.2k that we actually made this week. So you can see all my gold trades, right, where I buy and sell, you know, ignore my stop losses, but that's what we saw in the market. And what I want you guys to pay attention to is you can look at my symbols, right? Look at my symbols and you can see clearly all my symbols is actual one pair. It's all gold. New traders, take my advice. Focus on few pairs. You can either have 3 pairs that you like to trade. Honestly, you will see a massive change once you focus on these particular pairs.